Wonderful. Thank you, ladies, for joining us. This is the second webinar series sponsored by Vision Powerhouse. We are the sponsor for this. Vision Powerhouse, just a bit about us. Vision Powerhouse is a non-for-profit organization that was the vision of Latrice Lovelace, and I am the vice president of the organization and so fortunate to be a part of it. The goal of Vision Powerhouse is empowering women who are seeking and going through life-changing events and they need support and mentorship, and that's something that we strive to give them through various activities. If you could go to the next slide. What we want to do is connect with women and support them in any efforts that they have, whether that's directly with us or if that's through partnerships. We want to make sure that we're establishing strong networks, and we also will have some fundraising activities because we need to be able to support all of the efforts and the initiatives that women are looking and need support on, that are part of Vision Powerhouse. And we want to also have an effective training program for other mentors that join us throughout this program, other partners as well as volunteers, and make sure we have those established programs. And then us individually, there are 6 founders of the Vision Powerhouse organization, and our goal is to continue to grow through this as leaders of Vision Powerhouse so that we can continue to grow in the support that we have to empower women and mentor women. Just the last slide there. So again, what you'll see from Vision Powerhouse, and this webinar is evident of that. We want to perform services centered around workshops, life coaching sessions, seminars, webinars, retreats, and conferences, and I'm sure over time that list will grow. We will partner with other organizations and making sure that we have the right expertise for women as they come our way. And so, where we don't have internally the expertise within Vision Powerhouse, we'll partner with other organizations such as financial education, substance abuse, domestic violence and abuse, grief counseling, anything that women need, we will try to find the appropriate resources. And so want to make sure, again, that we are supporting women and empowering them in the right way. Visit our website. That's in the right-hand corner of the presentation. We do have another webinar coming up May 15th, so please go to our website so that you can register for that. It's Mental Health Month, so we'll be focusing in that arena on body and mind connection for next month, and that will be presented by Tiffany Kelly of Loose the Power Within. So look forward to that. But today we have a very exciting webinar for you. Shatanese Reese is our elaborate speaker for today. And Shatanese is a certified senior professional in human resources with over 20 years of experience. Her career spans industries such as retail, banking, and higher education. Shatanese has held several leadership roles throughout her career, including Assistant Director of Staff Recruitment and Retention, Diversity Consultant, and most recently, HR Manager. Shatanese obtained her bachelor's and master's degree at Iowa State University and recently launched her own business after a bout with breast cancer caused her to reevaluate her life's purpose. Shatanese is the owner of Super Extraordinary Mom, LLC, and an HR consultancy, if I can get that word out, which specializes in leadership development and diversity and inclusion. She resides in Atlanta with her husband and their 6 children. So with that, ladies, I'm going to turn it over to Shatanese and look forward to a wonderful webinar. I'm now turning myself off so I can take notes.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. I am so excited and pleased to be here as a speaker for the webinar. Vision Powerhouse has a lot of things going on. So it's so exciting. You know, I was fortunate enough to attend their launch party, essentially, their inaugural event, which was the Purses and Pearls event, and it was fantastic. And so the board members are all energized and excited about what they're doing, and you can tell that they're passionate about what they want to do and what they will be doing in the future. So again, congratulations on beginning the new organization. Hats off to you all, ladies, and let's get started. So tonight we're talking about, when do I take care of me? Love thyself. And what's so funny is my husband actually chuckled when I was telling him about the topic, because I think he believes there are times when I need to take my own advice, right? And that's always, you know, that can be the case when we're sharing or coaching. Sometimes we have to, you know, take our own medicine. So as Vanessa said, my name is Shatanese Reese, and I'm the proud owner of Super Extraordinary Mom, LLC. I launched the firm, my husband and I launched the firm in September of last year. So it's hard to believe that it's been a couple of months now, and we're still navigating and finding our way, but we're really excited to be here with you this evening and to talk about loving ourselves. So let me ask a question. As we talk about tonight's objectives, and we will be exploring steps on how to take care of ourselves, we will establish positive affirmations to reinforce those steps, and ultimately we will find rest. That's the goal for our time together tonight. And this is meant to be interactive. So please, if you could, just take a moment and send me a note through the chat so that I know that the chat feature is working. I will also ask questions, and so I'll have Vanessa unmute us at times so that we can kind of talk through some of the concepts that we're talking about and some of the steps, because I want to hear from you. I certainly am not the only person who may struggle with loving myself, and so you may have tips that you'd like to share with the rest of the group as well. So if you can, when you have a moment, thank you, Vanessa. I see that she's here. Just want to make certain that all of our technology is working just fine. So these are objectives for this evening. So does everyone agree with those objectives? You feel comfortable? So just send me a yes. Yes, we're ready to go, Shatanese. Let's go. Thank you, Latrice. I see that you said you're excited to learn more. All right, so let's get started. When was the last time you took time for yourself? Think about that for a second. And feel free to share something in the chat. But seriously, as you think back over today, the last week, even the last month, when did you actually take time for yourself? And what I mean by that is pushing pause on your daily activities. As you look at this picture, it's intended to be blurred because we go through life so quickly. We're just moving at breakneck pace, going from here, going here. Latrice was sharing earlier how she's working with her daughter, and it's senior week. I was sharing with Vanessa that I was busy doing things back to back, and Vanessa also was talking about how busy her day was. And so really, when have you just pushed the pause button on what you're doing on a regular basis and just took some time for yourself? And we're going to talk about what that means. And I will encourage you that as we progress through the rest of our content for this evening, that you think about, what does that mean? What does taking time for yourself mean? So I would like to hear from you. Just out of curiosity, when was the last time that you took time for yourself? So feel free to share it in the chat feature. And Vanessa, if you don't mind unmuting, if anyone wants to chime in for just a couple of seconds, we'll do that. So when was the last time that you took time for yourself? And whether that means if you went, whatever your favorite pastime is, whatever how you define relaxing and taking time for yourself. So that's at a restaurant by yourself, going shopping, just sitting outside at a park. Yes, I'd love to hear from you. Latrice says she can't remember. Yeah, I'm with you in that on that. Anyone else would like to share?
Shatanese, this is Vanessa. What I will say is I have a massage, a 90-minute massage once a month. That's kind of me time, and so I take that time out for myself.
You get an applause. That's fantastic. 90 minutes once a month. That is absolutely great. So hats off to you, because that's definitely taking time for yourself. And so that's great. Anyone else want to share?
This is Latrice. I'll share. I can't remember the last time, but a massage. I think it was like maybe, I don't know, 6 months ago, or last Mother's Day, or my last birthday. But a massage and pedicure and manicure really helps to relax me when I can carve out time for myself.
Yes, 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 yes. It's absolutely important to find that time. Thank you, Vanessa, if you can mute us again. And whatever that means to you in terms of your own quiet time, you have to take the time, or else you'll be burnt out at both ends and not able to really help anyone or be effective in what you're doing. And so we can go back on mute, and I'll go to the next. So, rest. Tonight we're going to talk about rest. And what I love most about this picture is that water, for many, gives a depiction of peace. For anyone who's been on a beach and you hear the waves coming in slowly, it just really kind of sets you in a mood. Whenever you go into various places for massages, sometimes you'll see a fountain, because water is a great way to kind of help relax you. And so tonight we are going to talk about rest. All right. Any questions at this point? All right. I personally love this scripture. And so it says, "All who are weary, come to me and you shall find rest." I've learned throughout my life and throughout my career as an HR professional that as people, and specifically women, we try to carry everything. So we're carrying other people's burdens, we're carrying our own, and that's certainly compounded if we're aunties or mothers or caregivers, and we can be bogged down and thoroughly exhausted, and sometimes not even realize it until our body gives out. And so I like the scripture because it says we can come and bring our burdens at the feet of the altar. And how comforting is it to be able to put everything down? Now, if you're anything like me, I'll put it down and I'll leave it there maybe for a day or so, and I'll pick it back up. And it's so hard sometimes to leave it at the altar, to leave it at the foot of Christ. But that's absolutely what we have to do sometimes. And we have to tell ourselves that it's okay. It's okay to push pause, to lay our burdens down, and to take a step back and rejuvenate. It's absolutely essential. And so rest is the topic for the evening. And I love acrostics. So we're going to talk about what each of these letters mean in the word rest. Okay. So R is for realistic expectations. Expectations are what we have set or what others have set in terms of what they want to occur or what they expect to occur. So it's a set of standards. And how many times do we find ourselves in situations where the expectations that have been established or communicated are not realistic? And when that occurs, a great deal of angst and stress will occur because you're trying your best to meet these expectations, but you can't because they're not realistic. And so what I want us to talk about and to think about are maintaining realistic expectations of ourselves. And so as a mother, I know that I am trying to be present in each of my children's lives. And so as Vanessa shared in my bio, I have 6 children. And so I have one in college, one who's in the Marines and actually moving today to California. And then I have a 4th grader and a 1st grader and a preschooler and a toddler. And so I know that sometimes I can be so hard on myself and will beat myself up if I'm not able to do what I think I should be doing on a regular basis as it pertains to me being a mother. And so how many of you feel at times that you're really hard on yourself because of the expectations that you set? And Vanessa, you feel free to open the lines if anyone would like to comment on the expectations that you set for yourself. And if you don't want to chat or speak, you can certainly put it in and I'll share it. Okay. So Vanessa, you can put us back on mute. So Latrice, oh, it looks like I'm muted. Can you all hear me? I want to make certain that everybody can hear. I got a notification that I was muted. Can you?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you. So Latrice says that she is her worst enemy of self-inflicted deadlines. Yes. And when you realize that what you're trying to accomplish is unrealistic and it's self-imposed, it's a great opportunity for you to stop and take a step back and really identify what is absolutely important, what absolutely has to get done in this particular time frame. So I am a big proponent of to-do lists. I personally like to cross things off. I get great satisfaction. I'm hoping that you are, you're all out there nodding or smiling for those of you who also like to cross things off. But I get great satisfaction out of either drawing a little okay or crossing that item off the list and saying, yes, it is finished. And so being able to look at the time that you have and comparing it to what you have to accomplish is so critical. And sometimes telling yourself that it's okay. It's okay not to strive for perfection. And so Vanessa says that she's extremely hard on herself as it pertains to maintaining realistic expectations. But I also want you to be mindful of the expectations that you have of others, because having expectations on yourself is one thing, but also looking at what others should be doing can be a challenge as well. How do you combat that? Open communication is so key. So whether you're in the workforce or in your personal relationships, making certain that both parties are clear on what's expected, when is it expected, and what the measure of success will be. So if you have a project, you're at work, and I always tell people to make certain that you ask up front, once you acknowledge receipt, are there any deadlines or time frames that I should keep in mind as I'm progressing? And you, in turn, do the same when you're working with others. So in the business world, we're always serving on committees, on various projects, and even interacting with our managers. And so having that clear communication in terms of what they're expecting of you, as well as what you're expecting if you are on a team or you're supervising anyone, is so important. And it can alleviate a great deal of stress because everyone is on the same page in terms of what needs to be delivered and when. So any questions or thoughts about having expectations of others? You also need to manage others' expectations. And so it certainly ties into what we were talking about earlier when you're communicating with others about what you want them to do. Making certain that when someone tells you that something is needed and by a specific time frame, if you're not able to accomplish that, it's okay to say, I actually have a lot on my plate, or you probably won't want to say that necessarily to your boss, but you could say, I'm working on these other time sensitive deadlines, and I can certainly have it by Monday instead of Friday. Is that okay? And so I think we sometimes progress through our careers and in our relationships, and we are not comfortable with communicating what our needs are. And we have to be able to say, I can do this or I can't. And also follow up with when you can deliver it. I think that if anybody, people will extend a great deal of grace, and they'll also respect you because you're able to communicate and articulate what you're able to do and when. And so I see that Vanessa says that she thinks her inability to say no puts you in a position to meet expectations. I would say that yes, oftentimes when we, for whatever reason, we're trying to please, we're trying to impress, we're afraid to say no, we don't know what the ramifications are if we say no. All of those components can compound you feeling stressed and anxious about attempting to meet expectations. So what I want you to do right now is to practice saying no. No, and I'm sure you've heard, is a complete sentence, and it's absolutely okay. And in your work environment, saying, thank you, Renessa, yay, Renessa said no, and not have any regrets. And again, I suggest if you're saying no, then certainly offer some other time frames by which you can get the various ask completed. So I'm hoping everyone else is saying no as well. So you have to say it deep from your belly, no, with confidence, and not be concerned. So what can you do on a daily basis? I want you to write down this positive affirmation, especially if having realistic expectations is an area of concern for you. I will maintain realistic expectations of myself and others. And Latrice said, no, she's also used, I need to get clearance from my doctor. I love it. Yeah, you can certainly use that, and people, in most cases, may not even blink an eye at saying you need to get clearance. I love that, Latrice. But yes, so please, take some time to write, I will maintain realistic expectations of myself and others. And so you may say, well, Shatanese, how will I know when those expectations are not realistic? You'll be able to tell. You'll be able to tell if you feel grossly fatigued by the end of the day. You'll be able to tell if your attitude is curt and you find yourself snapping at those who are close to you. You'll be able to tell if, so for me, my eye starts twitching. So your body, it'll start manifesting itself in various ways. And so you have to listen to what your inner being is telling you about the expectations and demands that you have on your life. Any thoughts or comments about this positive affirmation? Do you think this is doable? Do you think that you can honestly tell yourself, I will maintain realistic expectation of myself and of others? Is this doable? Pamela, thank you, Pamela. Yes. Cynthia, thank you, says yes, it is. Great. So I would love to hear your testimonies about where you place this particular affirmation, whether it's in your devotional book, if you get up in the morning, if it's on your mirror, if it's in your car, if it's in your office or your cubicle, if it's in the kitchen, if it's in the laundry room. Where are you going to place your positive affirmation as a reminder? Oh, I need to make certain that my expectations are realistic. And so I love this little image. Today is going to be a good day. Today is going to be a good day. And you have the power to tell yourself that, yes, it's going to be a good day. I have this, and this, and this, and this to complete, but it's going to be a good day. Why? Because my expectations are realistic. And I have communicated what I expect of others. So when the next time you're feeling overwhelmed, think about this little lamb and maintaining realistic expectations. Any thoughts? Oh, Vanessa, thank you. Vanessa says she'll place it on her desk so she can see it daily. That's a fantastic idea. Yes. All right, so we're going to move on to the next letter, which is E. E means eat. So a part of resting means you have to be mindful of what's going on internally. And so I'm going to ask the question, what are you eating? Whatever you put into your body is causing life or death. And that may sound very dark and harsh, but that's the reality. Everything that you eat is causing life or death. So if you think back over the past 24 hours, what did you eat? Did you eat a lot of junk food, processed food, food that was right there at the checkout counter that you were able to quickly grab because you were hungry? Or were you conscious about what you're eating and were making choices like salads and chicken breasts, or vegetarian burgers, whatever it is for you that describes what's healthy? So what have you eaten in the last 24 hours? Who would like to share? And it's okay, no judgment here. We're here to grow and to learn. So is there anyone who is really, really trying to be mindful of what they're eating on a regular basis? Latrice says it was not good. And I thank you for your honesty. I appreciate it. And Cynthia, I also saw that you said you're going to place your note in the bathroom. Thank you for sharing. So Cynthia said she had a kale salad for lunch. Great. That's great. Anyone else? Pepsi. Pepsi's your drug. That's Sharzetta says Pepsi's your problem. And Pamela says my family is saying I'm that you had tofu. That's nasty. I actually enjoy tofu. I know a lot of people say that it doesn't have any taste, but so Pamela, we'll have to connect afterwards because I have this great recipe for you. My point is you are what you eat. And I also want to challenge you to think of what you're eating in terms of spiritually as well. So what are you putting into your mind? What are you reading on a regular basis? Because in a sense, you're digesting either what you're watching or what you're reading. Our pastor always likes to say that you'll be the same, today as you are 10 years from now. Depending on the types of books that you've read and the people that you've met. So not only thinking about what you're eating physically, but also think about what you're eating on a spiritual basis. And so I want you to really think about that because you are, what you do today will manifest itself in interesting ways 5 to 10 years from now. Even a year from now. So you have the choice, you have the option, you have the opportunity to make certain that whatever you're putting into your body is the best thing for you. So Vanessa said that she agrees. Sharzetta says she reads her Bible daily and tries to limit social media. That's great. And I'm certainly not someone that says you have to ban all social media. I think everything has to be in balance. And you will be the best indicator of what that balance looks like. So if you find that when you get up, the first thing that you're checking is Facebook and Instagram and your email, and you're not feeling centered, you're not feeling as if you are at a sense of calm, you may want to consider changing your routine. And that may mean sacrificing in other areas. So I definitely want you to be mindful of what you're eating. And I would be remiss if I didn't encourage you to get moving as well. So I don't care if you're trying to take the laundry from upstairs to downstairs, you better do it with some vigor. You better run and activate that core, keep that stomach tight, and carry that laundry like nobody's business, basically. And parking a little bit farther away from the store entrance definitely helps. So when people say that they just don't have time for exercise, they don't have time for meditation, they don't have time to just stop and take a break, I encourage them to think of the pace that they're going. That means you're going way too fast. That means you're looking like that blurred picture that I had a few slides earlier. It's just a blur. You're just going and moving, and it'll catch up to you. It's tried and true. It will catch up to you. So count this as intervention this evening. Shatanese Reese is telling you, let's pause. Any thoughts or questions about what you're putting into your body, if that's bringing life or death to you? So hopefully this evening, when you're looking at whatever that poison is for you, whether that's Pepsi, whether it's that cupcake or a candy bar, again, in moderation. If that's something that you know is not the best thing, especially if it's at 10:30 at night or 11 o'clock at night, think about, is this promoting life for me? And so what's the positive affirmation? I will choose to eat things that bring me life. And so I think this is a nice, healthy depiction of options. So, sweet potato fries, eating healthy doesn't always have to be bland, although I really, really do enjoy tofu. And I know sometimes people complain that it's also expensive. Why is it so expensive to eat healthy? But I say don't feed into that. We will do what we want to do. We'll find a way to do what we want to do. And so there are countless programs and options out there on the internet, on YouTube, that will help you, figure out ways to eat healthy and in a cost-effective manner. So Latrice said that this is confirmation for her. Thank you for sharing. Cynthia said she's going to start eating tofu. Again, really, really good recipe. But if you're allergic to peanuts, then it won't be good because it requires peanut butter. So I'm hoping that you have written down this positive affirmation as well. I will choose to eat things that bring me life. So we've talked about having realistic expectations, the R, where we've talked about now choosing to eat things that will bring us life. So what can be next? I want to make certain that I'm sensitive to our time as well. S, stop being busy. Yes, what does that look like? That looks like not saying no. That looks like doing everything all of the time for everyone. And so what are your time wasters throughout the day? What fills up your day that at the end of the day, you find yourself thinking, what did I do all day today? And so think about today, for example. And if you got up, you got the morning started, you're in your regular routine, and where did the day go? Are you being busy? trying to get my slide to advance. And so Vanessa says she's juggling too many activities, can cause her to be frazzled and unable to focus. Yes, you're absolutely correct. And bear with me for just a second. Let's see, make certain that. Okay. So there's a difference between being busy versus strategic. And so you may be rolling your eyes thinking, Shatanese, what do you mean strategic? That means I'm going to have to put more effort into taking care of my day and doing my day. If you find that you're not able to accomplish everything that you want to accomplish in your day-to-day activities, it's a perfect time to look at what you're doing on a regular basis and if there are opportunities to make change. For example, let's say you are working and you have a project on which you're working that has a specific deadline, but your email is also open. So you're typing away and boop, an email notification comes in and it's from someone that requires your immediate attention. What do? Yes, you will stop what you're doing and start responding to that email, which will then take you down a rabbit hole and off track. And so what I recommend is that you actually close your email for a period of time. And of course, if your current workload or your work situation would allow that, and to focus your schedule. You have control over your schedule. It may not feel like you do, but you do. And I know everyone has heard we all get the same number of hours during the day. That's true. And so if you want to really squeeze out as much time as you can out of your day, by having it prioritized in terms of what you do when, will absolutely help you maximize what you're doing. And you've also probably heard about people putting what you don't like to do at various times during the day. So certainly don't wait until you're depleted and your energy is totally low to do those things that you really, really don't want to do. So I'm best in the morning. And so I try to get through a lot of activities during the morning because my energy starts to wane when we get into the noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock hour. So if you ever want to have a meeting with Shatanese, you need to do it between the hours of 8 and I'm half joking. If we have meetings in the afternoon, I promise I will be alert. But I know myself. I know when I'm most alert. And so do you know yourself? Do you know when you are the most effective? Think about that. And think about what is causing you to waste your time. Is it social media? Is it text messages? Is it phone calls from individuals who are constantly off task? Is it responding to emails as quickly as possible, but you're really not getting what you want done? Think about what those time wasters are. And so Latrice says, I need to do less multitasking and spread out the tasks throughout the day. Yes, multitasking is a fable because you're divided. Your energy and your attention, they are divided. And so putting chunks of time into your schedule to do various tasks, you'll find are much more effective. So try it. What do you have to lose? You can continue to do what you're doing now and you'll keep getting those same results. So you might want to try something different. What tips have you tried personally to help keep yourself on track and that you're strategic, that you're not just ripping and running for the sake of ripping and running? Has anyone tried anything that has worked wonders for them? So Vanessa says, making a task list and prioritizing the list. Yes, you're after my heart. That's exactly what I do as well. And on top of that, it's okay if everything doesn't get done because guess what? It'll be there tomorrow. And so Cynthia says she makes the task list as well. Latrice says scheduling blocks of time and keeping to the schedule is also helpful. All very, very good ideas. And so The positive affirmation for this particular letter is, I will be strategic about my daily activities. I will be strategic about my daily activities. So that means I'm thinking about what needs to happen the next day. And even before you start your week, you could look at your schedule for the entire week and make determinations about what needs to be done so that you can have a really effective week. And then as you go through each day, just continue to revisit the next day so that you can stay ahead of what you need to have done. And to really eradicate and remove out of your schedule those things that waste your time. I don't know what that may be for you, but my hope is that something jumped up in your spirit when I asked you, what are your time wasters? Something came to you that you thought, oh, okay, right. I can see how that sucks everything out of my schedule. So any thoughts or comments about this particular positive affirmation? All right, so we will move into T. Tap into the energy of being still. Let's just let that sit for a moment. Tap into the energy of being still. Is that hard for anyone that's on the webinar? Is that hard for anyone to do? I will share that my husband tells me often, why don't you just sit down, sit still? And so in his mind, me moving about my day seems like I have a lot going on. But that's not always the case. There are times when I am just sitting still and not doing anything and not moving and being okay. And also not having anything on, meaning, let me clarify, not having the radio on, not having the TV on, not having my phone within arm's reach, nothing but my thoughts and the quiet. There's this really awesome place. So Cynthia says sitting still makes her mind race. Sometimes that happens for me as well, Cynthia, but I have to turn down the noise. I have to turn off the voices. I have to turn off what I need to do next and really focus and concentrate on just being quiet. And so what I wanted to share is that there's this awesome retreat house. It's a Jesuit retreat house. It's off of, I want to say Northside Drive, off of 285. And it's a fantastic place to go. I've been several times, where they offer silent retreats. That means for an entire weekend, you don't have access to your phone. There aren't any TVs or radio or anything along those lines. And there's no talking. There's no talking at all. And so you're moving about in this facility quietly. And it's so serene because there are trails where you can walk and look at nature. It's right off of the Chattahoochee. And so there's water. And so you can hear the waves going by. And you can sit and reflect and journal if you like to journal. Or just sit and not do anything. Or walk. It's awesome to go during the fall because you'll be able to see all of the beautiful trees changing colors. It's fantastic to go during the spring because you can see things blooming. It's even nice to go during the summer because there's such a thick canopy of trees that it's still somewhat cool. And so Vanessa, there are a couple of folks that say that they like to journal. Yes, journaling is so important. Why? Because it allows you to get it out. It allows you to empty your head. It allows you to empty your heart, and it allows you to get it out on paper. And it can be such a private and intimate opportunity to just kind of talk to yourself or talk to God, or if you're writing a letter to a loved one that you never send, it's a way to just kind of cleanse right? It serves as a catalyst to just empty out. And so if you don't have a journal, I definitely recommend that you get one. And even just having one of those 53-cent notebooks that they have at one of the stores, that works just as good as any fancy journal that you may find at a bookstore. So tapping into the energy of being still. Look at this image. Who wants to be there right now at this moment? Me, I do. And so Latrice says Thrive & Ink provides journals. Thank you, Latrice, for that. So Vanessa's company provides journals. That's fantastic. But yes, find your quiet space. Sometimes I actually sit in my closet. For those, some of you may have seen the movie War Room, and for those who haven't, it's essentially a movie about a closet where the woman learns how to pray and cover her family in prayer and specific issues that she and her husband were experiencing. So my closet is like my war room, and sometimes I like to sit in there and just be quiet. So tapping into the energy of being still is so important and so vital. And that is actually the last letter in our rest. So we talked again about realistic expectations. We talked about eating life or death. We talked about stopping being busy. And then lastly, we talked about tapping into the energy of being still. And so Cynthia said she just cleaned her closet for that purpose. That movie, if you haven't seen it, I encourage you to watch it. It's very powerful for me. I cried a couple of times during the movie. And so the positive affirmation is, I will find time to be still. You have to make the declaration, make the decision that you will find time to just be still. And to turn the voices down in the mind, to turn off the social media, to turn off the phone, and to just be still. There's also a great scripture that I like. It's Psalm 46:10, and it says, "Be still and know that I'm God." And I really cherish that particular verse because it challenges me to just sit and ponder about the awesomeness of God. And so I see that some of you have seen the movie, great movie. It might be time for me to get that movie again. So that's the positive affirmation for the T. So what changes will you make? What and when? I encourage you to start today. Start making the changes right now. And so I'd love to hear from you. What do you plan to do? Are you going to change the way that you're eating? Are you perhaps going to change some of the expectations that you've placed on yourself? Are you instead going to stop being busy and maybe take out a few activities or committees or projects that they've tapped you on the shoulder and they've asked you to participate? Or are you going to have more of a conscious effort of being still so that it's more frequent and not necessarily last month or 6 months, or you can't even remember when you just sat and you were just quiet for a while? So please share with me, what changes will you make starting today? And Vanessa, you feel free to unmute the group at this time. Latrice says she'll be mindful of her time and she'll eat to live. And then she also says she's going to stop being so busy. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Is there one particular area that perhaps resonated with you? And there may be people in your life who may need some of these positive affirmations. I encourage you to share with them. If you were thinking that someone came to mind when we're talking about a particular area, it may be time to tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, I've been thinking about you. We can put us back on mute. And so Cynthia says that she'll work on being still, and Leslie says that she'll work on being still. Vanessa's going to work on being still. So yes, make the changes today. That's what my hope is. And are there any questions from the group? Does anyone have any thoughts, comments, or want to know if there's anything else that I do differently to help me find rest and to love myself on a regular basis? Oh, Latrice asks, what's the name of the silent retreat? It's Ignatius House, and that's Ignatius. I guess I could type it if I could find my mouse. But yes, Ignatius House. Or if you type in Jesuit, 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 that will also come up. And again, it's right off of the Chattahoochee. And right off of, I want to say that's Northside Drive. It's right off of 285, but Ignatius House. And they'll give you ideas of the donations that you can make in order to go. But there's nothing required if you just want to go on the property and walk around. But I encourage you to check out the retreats. They have themed retreats. So my husband and I actually went on a silent retreat once. And of course there were pockets of time where we had to talk together, but essentially the majority of the time we were silent and reflecting. And so there's women's retreats and other types of retreats. So they'll have a schedule with topics. And so Vanessa's asking, what can family members do to support or respect your efforts or support your rest efforts? You can absolutely communicate to them what you're attempting to accomplish. They can hold you accountable. So if our family members are the closest to us, and so they'll see things way before we even notice that there may be a problem. So you give them permission to speak into your life. You give them permission to hold you accountable. If they see that you stated you're trying to be less busy, or you're trying to be still on a regular basis, and they see that you're going absolutely opposite of that, they can remind you of what you promised to yourself. They can remind you of the positive affirmations. And especially if you have the affirmations throughout the house, get them all involved so that you are a family who work together to love each other and to love yourselves. You know that it's difficult to love others if you don't love yourself and you're not taking care of yourself. And so it's so important for you to find that rest. So Vanessa, does that help? Just in terms of communicating to your family what you're trying to accomplish and asking them to help hold you accountable. I think.
Yeah, that absolutely helps. Thank you.
You're welcome. Great question. Any other questions or thoughts or comments? Well, if not, I would love to connect with you. I'm on almost every social media outlet that you can imagine. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Was on Periscope for a while. So Google Plus. Would love to connect with you and to hear how you're doing with your positive affirmations and the changes that you're making today. You're making changes today so that you are loving yourself more wholly and that you are finding rest. That's my hope, is that you're finding rest. And with that, my name is Shatanese Reese, and this is how you can reach me.
This was awesome, Shatanese. Thank you so much. This was very timely and extremely valuable. So thank you.
You're welcome. And so it looks like I gave you 4 minutes back into your schedule because I don't know if we were supposed to stop at 7:45 or 8, but hopefully I didn't go over time there.
No, this was great.
Well, great. Again, would love to hear your testimonies. Would love to hear how things are going. Stay true to yourself. It can be done. It's going to be difficult, but it can be done. And thank you so much for being here this evening. I've greatly appreciated everyone's input and for making it interactive. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shatanese.